And they're off. They are off to the races, hopefully.
Hopefully. That's kind of what it is. We sit here and we hold our breath because we never really know, is it going to let us do something? Because so many times it does not let us do something. So let's see here. I'm not seeing I don't even know. Sorry, chat is unavailable. So I have to get over here to see. Oh my gosh. I am slacking. Here we go. All right. I found. Oh, Xenomorphet. Hello. Good to see you guys. It says top messages 5, but I only see one person. So if I haven't said your name. Oh, there's K-Heads. Salutations to you too.
Oh,
Good.
There we are.
There we go. Oh, there's Robbie. Hi, Robbie.
Good
Antonio.
morning.
Good morning. Happy day.
Happy day, yeah. I say good morning, and I know what I shouldn't be using those words.
You know, we're never going to get it perfect. Sorry if there is some background. We're never going to get it perfect. Oh, there's our special K. Oh my gosh. Big hugs. Now the party started. We want our special K in there. And Jen, we got a room full of really good people. So this is exciting.
In the house.
Hi, Oneness. Yes.
7 times around.
7 times around. I like that. Yes, grand rising. So, on our spiritual journey, all we can really do is keep trying to do better. Just keep trying to do better. We're never really going to get anything perfect. I mean, we have off days. People get tired. Something else might come up and you're not able to follow that spiritual practice, but you do when you can. I guess that's why you have that little amount of time in the morning to create space for that spiritual practice. So at least just for that little bit of time in the morning, you can get it right. And then the rest of your day, you just do your best. And sometimes we stumble, we fall, we make mistakes, we don't do our best, but we made time to do our best in the beginning. I think that's good to set the tone for the day. I'm kind of big on setting the tone for the day.
Yes, absolutely. And we have Dolores Inkenbrandt and Dee Coppins. Greetings from sunny Southwest Florida. Blessings to everybody. Our beloved KK in the house. Israel. Hola, ¿cómo está? So, I was actually reading a very old book. I didn't charge the iPad, which was a blessing. I felt like doing what I used to do all the time, which was taking a bath before getting on with the day. Because, again, water can cleanse away so much. It really can. Water is so powerful. I mean, just think about the power of water. We can program it with our intentions, which I do, and I put the intention in the bath that it will be healing and cleansing and removing from me anything that needs to be let go of. And, this is a time of big purging. And, we are going to be expanding in our series that we're doing over on Patreon. By the way, I should probably mention we had a critical update from the Galactic Federation. So, there's a lot of energies coming in that's making life challenging, but we are at a key point in time. This is that branching in the road. This is that pivot point in history. I mean, man, so much of what we've all been kind of like holding our breath and waiting for is happening, both what we could perceive as the positive as well as the negative. And it's all about how we respond in these times. And that's really the whole concept behind what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to make it an open forum. There used to be a time, literally years ago, when I first started, when I was kind of emulating beloved Art Bell, and then George Norrie, with, call in. What do you feel like talking about? Well, we're not going to do the call in part, as again, that can get crazy, but we don't really need to call in now. I mean, shoot, we have the chat. So if you guys want to bring up something in chat, we will certainly address it. Technology can be a curse and a blessing at the same time. I think the thing that's missing is just how much natural, we could use the term technology, most people don't access in their own lives. I saw Mike Adams, Brighteon. We've been stuck at 1,829 people on Brighteon forever. And I know it's not Mike's doing, because he doesn't have control of his own channel. That's the basic reality that we're in. Again, the system takes control of anything that's really getting too large. And yet we have on this planet and in this planet ascended masters, people that are truly in 5D at this moment. There are 5D beings on Earth, in Earth, and around us. Again, you would perceive them more as waves of energy, patterns of energy, balls of light. But they're there. They are here. They have been communicating with us all the time. Even in the darkest times of the Kali Yuga, they've been there. And poor humans, in so many ways, haven't had a clue as to how powerful they are and the type of technology that we hold just naturally.
In our natural form, we can do some really amazing things. I've had this thing with my body where it does involuntary things, and it can be annoying at times. It can be very, very frustrating. But finally, yesterday, I thought about it, and I thought, this is a gift. It's not necessarily the one I want, but it's still a gift. So I started looking at it in that aspect, and at the moment, it's definitely a gift I can use to help people, but I need to unravel it first. I need to understand it fully. So sometimes in life, you are gifted these abilities, and they might not exactly be the ones you want. That kind of cracked me up yesterday when I was thinking about that. It's like, of all the things, you're going to give me this. You're going to, but thank you, because you never want to show non-gratitude, because you could get it taken away. So even if it's not necessarily a thing you want, but it's still a gift, you give thanks for that. And then you try to understand it and figure it out. Because it's like my spirit guides just handed me the most wonky card yesterday, I tell you. And it's not that I didn't have the card. That's the thing. It's been there all along. I just realized, hey, I can use this. So, I don't know. So how do we hone these gifts that we're given? For me, it's been many, many years of inner work and trying to quell the voices so I can hear the ones that are the most important. And I have to be in a certain frame of mind for that. So I have to be in a place where I'm quiet. I have to quiet my soul before working on each person. So for me, that's very important to quiet those waters, because gosh, I can take in a lot of energy. So we have to be mindful of where we're at and who we are when we're helping people through their own life issues.
Yeah, Robbie says, what about the Moors? And, that's an interesting subject again. There's so many different subjects to pile into. Stacy found us from Brighteon. And so did Kay, yeah. I mean, Mike has done a lot of good, and he is good friends with our good friend David Devine, who we've done numerous shows with over the years. We're all tied together, guys. We're all tied together. We're all here, undercover on this mission to help illuminate minds that have been in darkness, and a darkness that they don't really understand at all. And Ray's in the house. Good to see Ray, and also Christine. Hope all is well with you guys. Again, the Moors, very, very interesting. Were they in California with Queen Califia? That's really very curious, because, again, most depictions I've seen is Queen Califia looks like she very well could have came from somewhere over in Saharan or sub-Saharan Africa. The reality is, and I've touched on this before, I have a couple of books that unfortunately are not very large, because what they contain are excerpts from people's diaries that were traveling here in North America, again, mostly the Spanish, the Portuguese, of course, the Dutch, the English, the French. They all came, that colonial period, and settled in areas and again conquered places where there were people, there were civilizations. In fact, I saw recently where they were saying that if you go back to 1000 AD, they were comparing the amount of people here in the Americas, and North America, for instance. They were estimating that the population of North America and the population of Europe were about equal. About equal. And think about that. How could you discover anything in 1492 where it's already there, populated by as many people as you have in your own homeland, home territory? It's just ridiculous. But again, it's the system whitewashing away indigenous traditions, which have a very, very different viewpoint from the system. This is the beautiful thing. You know, there was a wave of people coming through. I want to say it started shortly after the Civil War period, which the Civil War period wasn't what they're telling us. You know, they say it was all about just slavery, you know, plantation economy here in the South, and northern industrial economy. Oh, no. There was a lot more to it than that. Much, much more to it than that. In fact, there are some different avenues you could go down, mind-boggling, and really awesome channels like Lucius Aurelian, of course, John Levy, Mind Unveiled, Jared Boosters, and so many others. Man, these guys have deep dived into all that. And when you start looking, you realize the more you learn, the more that everything we were taught is just not even close to accurate. And when we're talking about from a spiritual point of view, everything the system has given us, it couldn't be any more inaccurate. It's totally off base, thinking that, well, it's the chemical and magnetic impulses in your mind that form your consciousness. No. Our consciousness resides independent completely of our brain. Completely. We just, again, use the brain as, we could equate it to our car. Nowadays, cars, besides having a engine, to move it around, they really have a whole vast computer network, which again, you're not the computer network in your car. Your existence doesn't, depend on the computer network in your car to drive your car. It's just as silly to think that your consciousness is the byproduct of chemical reactions in the brain.
Stacy, yeah, the energies are extremely high out there. The anxiety has been really ramping up. And if you're in this room, more than likely, you're extremely sensitive. And, we don't necessarily have to talk about what's going on out there, but it's intense. And a lot of people are going through it. And I think part of that is us, but there's the other part where astrologically it's not the easiest time of the year. This time it's a little bit difficult. We did make it past this full moon, but still this energies are still pretty high. So babying yourself, just taking good care of yourself to the best of your ability, not doing too much, not taking on too much, trying to quiet the mind so that you can figure out, where is that anxiety coming from, because it has a place. That's been my struggle, and it's something that I just recently figured out, and it has a place. It comes from a place, and if we can figure out where that anxiety is coming from, maybe we can make a small adjustment in our lives, because we pick up on everything. We pick up on everyone's anxiety out there. The least we could do is take care of our own, because we're going to feel the rest of the world's anxiety.
Yes, and our dear friend DJ, DJ 57 there. We don't even know if the year 2025 is true. I know. Are we in the year 1525? Are we in the year 525, or is it the year 1025? And then what are we referencing when we say AD, Anno Domini, after domain? Are we really talking about the birth of the person that we say is Jesus of Nazareth? I don't think so. No. It has nothing to do with that. Anno Domini, you're talking like the year of domain or conquest. Are we talking about, the takeover of the planet literally by those that we would call the asuras from the Hindu mythology. And I just love to go on channels with some of these great researchers and people that are open-minded and doing so much. Again, Paul Wallace's of the world, Mauro Boliño's, and man, it goes on and on. The Desert Drifters of the world. I love that kid. I feel so bad, that he's not with us, because boy, that kid was truly living a life that I would have loved to live a little bit more of too. When Cindy and I were out there in the desert drifting around uncovering things, and there's a lot of other guys doing that. Right now, people are picking up that our history is totally fabricated, and what is our real history? So they're out there finding for themselves. They're trying to find their own little piece of the hidden pie that will give them clues, because we all know it's not accurate. We've been fed a bunch of lies from this system. We're never going to believe it again.
No, I think we can learn from it. I guess my sadness is that we don't live long enough to really gather this information and then pass it to our kin, or pass it to those that we love, pass it to someone who can also utilize it, because they do cut our lives so short. So everything from the time we wake up to the time we go to bed, it can be a challenge, because we're smacking this system that goes against the grain of our natural being, because we are human beings, not human doings. We shouldn't be always go, go, go. We shouldn't be taking on more and more and more, yet the technologies are created for us to take on more. The technologies say, oh, no, we're not here to take you over. We're just here to help you. Well, they're going to have less humans who are more productive for their mansions and their money. Not that money is bad, it's not bad, but when it's hoarded to hurt other people and control other people, that makes me sad. But otherwise, money it's an energy, and I think it's an important energy that we all should master, because we have to live with it. I mean, that's how we get around, is with that vehicle. And what if we were to all start spending it on something that was alternative? Then at least we wouldn't be feeding their big companies. So I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at with it all.
We're graced with the presence of our beloved Zoe.
Oh, Zoe.
Zoe's in the house. Buenos tardes. Wonderful. Yeah, well, it's 7 hours later, so it's
okay.
Afternoon.
Thank you.
Richard Davidson, yes, Cindy, making anxiety adjustments more now as life keeps getting deeper and more astonishing. Yeah, I mean, here it is, guys. If you're an empath and you are truly awakening, it's going to get a little bit tougher to deal with these energies. I mean, I'm looking at a beautiful lake, and honestly, my stomach's been in knots all morning. And I think it's, again, tapping into the collective anxiety is what I'm doing. So we need to root and ground as much as possible. It was such a blessing that I did not charge my my iPad, because, I picked up a book which has been sitting on the shelf calling out to me. And it basically is a channeling from like 1870. And it gets me realizing and recognizing that, those people that were coming in, those starseed light workers, you might think that we were one of the first waves if you were born in the 50s or 60s. But the reality is a whole bunch were coming in that were probably born like around 1840, 1850. There was, of course, this big push for occult knowledge. People wanted to know, why is it hidden? Why do we automatically equate occult, which means hidden, with something that's bad? But it's simply because the occult sheds light on the dark system that has been putting itself off as the light to us all these years.
Right. So, I mean, some people don't even like that word occult. They're very, very afraid of it. So it's almost like it's taken on this vibration of scary, and it's hidden. It's what is hidden. And sometimes people, they'll have a certain placement in their chart, and they might be kind of in secret learning about the occult, but they show their family a whole nother face. They, they're Christian, but they have to learn about all the hidden things. So they dig and they dig and they dig, but they do that digging in secret, and they learn in secret because they don't want to admit, that they're interested in that kind of thing. So there's a particular placement that people actually do that so much they kind of get in trouble. But I don't think it's a bad thing to dig for things that are hidden. You want to know the truth. You want to pick it apart. You want to understand it. It's like, oh, okay, well, that's how that works. A lot of people want to know how things work. I want to know how my emotions work so that I can understand them, so that I know, exactly, precisely what's going on. So if something comes around me and I don't fully understand it, I like to sit with that for a minute and just say, okay, where are you coming from? Sometimes I know automatically. And so I'm like, oh, okay, well, I know where that is coming from. No biggie. I know where it's coming from. I know where to place my energy to balance, to counterbalance that issue or whatever might be going on. But yeah, I think the most important thing is to figure ourselves out, because if you can understand yourself, boy, you can do a lot. And sometimes that takes for you to have to really look at things closely, though. That can be painful. But hey, if you understand yourself, sky's the limit. You can do a lot.
We did this video yesterday on Heart's OMMM. Shh, we're going to tell you a secret, something most people don't know. Has to do with the little picture that's there. And it's also something that we know to be a truth, as opposed to taking a belief system from somebody else. Again, why would we ever take a belief system from somebody else and adopt it as our own? I mean, if it's something that really, really, truly resonates with you, feels wonderful, absorb it for a while and see if it stays true to your heart and soul. And that's the thing. Again, these big decisions that we make, again, when we label ourselves, are we not limiting ourselves in some way, shape, or form? Again, we are beings that are here, and we are here to learn and to grow and to experience. And again, with energy cannot be created or destroyed. It just transmutes. And so the natural order of things is to change, to ebb and to flow. Again, to grow and then break down and then grow again anew. So that's just the natural order of things. If you guys haven't subscribed yet to Heart's OMMM, please do. It gets videos here and there as we feel something comes through that we want to share as a spiritual resource. So that's what we really view it as. This is our spiritual resource YouTube channel. Place of refuge and resource. Again, we won't really touch on current events here at all. This is more about spirituality, and it has playlists that can be accessed very, very quickly and easily, that we'll be adding more onto, and very specific topics, as well as some that are a little bit more general. So spiritual practices and rituals, exploring other densities and dimensions, some of my own guitar music, ambient that I've done. Absolutely, our channelings are here as well, understanding the yugas. 13 videos on who was the real Yeshua, because he's a very real being and a beautiful being, and again, a starseed light worker. This does have channelings that came from Yeshua when Cindy was fully under. I think the one that maybe has helped the most out for people are the mantra ones, which is currently showing 48 videos, which is curious because I know it was over 50. So, I didn't get any notifications on them taking anything down, but I'll go through it and see. And we're going to add more mantras in, and it'd be nice. We'll hit 100 mantras or more, because, again, it's all about what are you resonating with, which, again, may be something that, you resonate with now, then maybe in the future not, and maybe you'll come back to it again later. It's all a spiritual journey.
Mm-hmm. It is. And DJ says, I want to know, what kinds of snacks do y'all take when fishing? Well, I tell you what, DJ, this goes back a long ways, because when we did go fishing, I don't think we brought any snacks. No, I don't remember bringing any snacks. Maybe Mike does, but currently we haven't been able to exactly make the time to get out there. So we feel awful, but when we do, I'll definitely figure out what snacks am I going to bring if I'm gonna. And the other problem with Mike and I and fishing, it's almost like subconsciously
We don't want to catch
we
the
don't want to
fish.
catch the fish. I mean, we do. We're disappointed when we don't, but we're like, run, fishy, run. So somewhere deep in our soul, we don't do ourselves any favors.
No, the reality is too. I'd rather feed the deer than kill a deer. That's just me. If I don't have to, and I have the money again to purchase, you could get down these different philosophical, theological, and very very emotional debates. About what's ethical, what's not ethical. Again, we are blessed with the material for this body, for this journey, and then we got to give it back at some point in time, and that will end up giving other beings material to use as a vehicle for them after.
When Zeke passed away, it was some time before certain elementals left his body. I thought it was interesting that it's not that I don't want to scare anybody. He couldn't feel. It's not like he could feel anything. It's just that those elementals, it takes time for that body to break down and release them. And actually, it took about 3 or 4 weeks maybe. And I saw Sassy kind of following some things, and when I looked closer to see what it was, they were the elementals that were leaving Zeke, and Sassy could see them. So I mean, our bodies are really interesting. I do feel we should put good stuff in them, because we do put them back and give them to earth, and someone is going to be utilizing that material for life. And maybe that is the way we rise up in vibration, is truly taking care of our temple. Because if there's more and more good material to make a temple out of, well, naturally, to me, the bodies are just going to get better, faster, stronger. So everything we put in our bodies is very important to me.
Peru in the house. Good to see you, Seizo. And again, he has offered to house us when we come down there. And it's on the bucket list, definitely. Oh man, wouldn't it be fun to have a bunch of us get together and go explore Paracas, go explore Cusco? Oh my God, that would be so fun. Okay. We're all going to meet there June 1st, 2030. And, I would just love to be able to do those things. So I'm putting it out there to the universe that we're able to manifest these things. Get-togethers with you guys out at sacred places. And you know what? There's a lot of sacred places in the U.S. as well. An awful lot. I mean, we've been to some. Mike is up in Shasta, and he takes in a lot of these lives too. Real nice guy, Mike in Shasta with his family. Shasta's beautiful, and Shasta was some of the most welcoming energy I've felt. I loved it. I mean, I wish it wasn't in a state with Newsom, honestly, and I look forward to the time when humanity is a little bit more free, but hey, we could visit. And Shasta's awesome. Sedona, another place that people go to, for that high vibe. I mean, Asheville, our beloved Asheville, there's some high frequencies in the areas around there. There are some amazing waterfalls. There's more waterfalls in, I think it's Transylvania County, if I remember right, in North Carolina, than like any other county in the United States. There's like over 100 of them. It's incredible, beautiful places, and we can't wait to go explore the Pacific Northwest. I think that is something we are going to work on manifesting sooner than later. I hope. It's up to Miss Sita.
Everything's up to Sita right now. She's one that things have to be just so we can go somewhere. But I always believe our animals should guide our lives in a way. You never want anything too disruptive, but still there's a hidden guidance there that animals give us that we might need to see in a way that otherwise we wouldn't be able to see. So our animals, very important. Our angels, And I do think they should guide us. But Sita's still working on Be Nice to People classes, and she's having leash training. She is to us and to the ones that she loves and she knows. She will protect. Oh my gosh, is she protective, Durga? But otherwise, we're working on it. We're getting there. I have to be able to take her out, in different various places. Baby steps. But yeah, I mean, DJ was saying we need portals. I agree. Wouldn't it be nice if we could just go over to DJ's house for dinner? He makes great pie. At least I think. That's what I see. He sends me pictures of pie and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so good. And we do some pretty good world famous pizza over here. We've had a couple people taste and attest to that it's pretty good.
Yes. And yeah, absolutely. So Lee says Chocolate Canyon, and then said, oh, I think they screwed up and they named it Choco Canyon. Chocolate. It was supposed to be Chocolate Canyon. I love New Mexico. I really do. New Mexico for me has always had a very, very special place in my heart. There's so much there. I think, what I've gotten from the guides is I did have a past life there. And that's why it resonates so much with me. But, I had a past life very close to where we are right now as well. And it resonates with me here, too. In fact, again, when we go back to what we were talking about with that, let's go over here on Heart's Ohm. When we look to like the video that we did yesterday, this is what I was talking about. What do these arms represent? This is a being, right? It's not that they're very handy. They're funny. Sorry about that. That was corny. It's that they remember their past lives. That's the big thing here. Why do they have so many arms? It's because they know their past lives. And it's right there in the Bible. You must be born again and again and again and again.
And again and again. But, wouldn't it be nice if we could remember the mistakes of our past and work on that? Wouldn't it be nice if we had a little bit better idea of where our flaws lie? But, that kind of gets us into character defects, some of my favorite topics. Oh my gosh. It's something that I think we all need to look at, character defects, each and every one of us. And just to make the world a better place, if nothing else, just to try to do a little bit better. Maybe emotionally you're not able to do better, but maybe you are, and you just don't know until you ask yourself and, look at the things. Body talk is very, very important. Body talk is critical because it can bring about an enormous amount of healing. What you say and the energy that runs through your field is very important. And like I said, we all do our best every day, all day, but we all kind of stumble here and there too, because you're not going to have that spiritual persona everywhere you go. Sometimes we are in the grocery store and we do get frustrated, and sometimes we do show a little bit worse side of ourselves. But, again, it's going back and making that space in the morning just to set your day and just do the best you can moving forward.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Omnigma says Choco Canyon sounds like it should be in Hershey, Pennsylvania. I remember taking the kids to Hershey. That was nice. That was fun. I remember taking them to the Jersey Shore, and Robbie was talking about the Pine Barrens, and that makes me think about the Jersey Devil, and you see all these. Crypto, not in the money sense, like the House of Cards here, which I just wanted to touch on a little bit too, but cryptozoology. Oh man, we're in fun times because a lot of those myths and legends are again talking about a time when we were up a little bit higher and we could see these beings. Now, you're going to be seeing these beings more and more. You're going to be seeing gnomes, fairies, all sorts of elemental beings, sprites again. You'll probably be seeing more often than not things that were just talked about in myths and legends. We've had so many close encounters of different kinds over the years. That's going to be more and more normal. And that's exciting. It really is. We are heading into a very, very magical time. And going back to finish my thought on Mike Adams, he was doing a live over on X, Twitter, and part of what he was talking about was, the sorcery that the system does on us. But no, we're the ones that can do the sorcery because we all have source in us. Some of those in the system don't have source in them. They're literally, constructs. Some of them are artificial. Some of them are AI. So we are the ones that they should be afraid of doing sorcery. And they are terrified of our sorcery.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they don't like that. Because some really have a command of certain elements. And, if you look in astrology, certain signs have more maybe of a water sign, more of a fire sign, more of an air sign. And having, knowing your element of power, you could use that element to help you manifest. I mean, this world, it really has abundance, and that does kind of depend on how we manifest. So yeah, using those elements. And then Chris P said that the crystals are vibing higher. Yes, they are. The crystals I have in my home are beautiful, and they work really hard, and I give them breaks, and I cleanse them, and I put them out, and I take really good care of them. But they also work very hard, but I keep them charged. And then when I have somebody, I have a crystal who's going to volunteer, but they're all very special, and I have noticed that too. Their presence is more known when I do work on people. I get, if I'm working on someone's their solar plexus with my sunstone, they have that deeper sense of stillness. It's a little deeper sense. And then working on the heart chakra with my rose quartz, they have more of that, love, that wave of love feeling that you feel with the rose quartz. So I've noticed that too.
Yes, absolutely. And yes, our power is growing, as Richard's alluding to. Lee says there's portals in the Black Hills. Yeah, I'd love to go through the Dakotas too. I want to do a trip all the way across the top part of the country from the Midwest out to Vancouver in that area, and then come back down and around, as I've never gone across the top part. I think I've been in 39 states, and those are all the ones I'm missing. I've hit everything on the East Coast and across the South, but never took the northerly trip. So that's something we're looking into and thinking about. And then maybe we could have some get-togethers with some of you guys along the way. It would be very, very fun. Again, it's all about manifestation. Now, I've been neglectful myself in, being so, can't say, I am really fond of the monetary system because I recognize it's a debt slavery system. Yet at the same time, we can't be trapped inside it in more ways than one. I like the photo on the right too. And when you look at this, it's somebody that's holding the world in their hands. That's us. That's you. The power to manifest your own reality. There are entire groups of beings that have ascended out of danger and are still, alive in fully conscious, just simply shifting their perspective up and out of the danger that was threatening them. We see this in some areas. We were talking about Chaco Canyon again, there, and then going up into the rest of the Four Corners area. We have cultures that just seem to disappear. And sometimes, they've even said, are there certain tribes that came in and removed every single trace of them? No, I really believe sometimes beings ascend. This is, again, what Bigfoot, that's one creature that has ascended up and outside of the normal realm, yet can also lower its frequency. Now, I would have myself been a little skeptical had I not, witnessed with my own two eyes a tall gray. This is in December 2017. I felt something go into my lower dantian. I felt something poke me energetically. And I woke up and looked, and it was a tall gray, somewhere between 8 and 9 feet tall. And it was, basically trying to give me an energy leak that would lead to my demise. or at least lead to a weakened state. And I watched it just shift its attention. It looked away from me. It broke eye contact right away. And it went into a meditative state. And it just was like, beam me up, Scotty. It disappeared. To me, I think it took somewhere between 45 and 90 seconds to fully disappear. It looked like it was just an energy pattern, like static on a TV. Again, it looked like that at the end, shaped like the gray. So I know beings can do this. Now that's knowing, because I saw it and I was wide awake. That's knowing instead of just, theorizing. I've seen it. I've also seen footsteps where there was an encounter and something picked up a big branch and whacked the cabin in New Mexico. It happened on 3 different nights, and I actually did see a footprint that was, I'd say, about size 13 and a half, 14, but deep in soil that was about 20 degrees outside. So it was very, very hard soil. I jumped up and down. I couldn't make even a little bit imprint, but there was a solid imprint there, right where something picked it up. I've also seen in the same area footprints lead through the snow to a tree and then just disappear. Again, human-shaped, barefoot footprints. We've seen one right by a mine shaft, right across from Nellis Air Force Base. And again, who in their right mind is walking out in the desert where it's 110 degrees barefoot?
A lot of people are starting to see at least with their third eye for sure. Those things are coming online. But when is it going to be when we see with our regular 2 eyes other beings in our dimension? And I think it's after we have a little ways to go still, even though we are in the Bronze Age. We are just barely on that baby cusp. And when we look at the light and the light spectrum, it's like we're just barely bleeding over enough where more people are at least seeing through their third eye and visualizing that way, which is very, very important. But I think it'll be fun to hang out with Bigfoot.
Oh, absolutely. And I met a nice young gentleman that had hiked the entirety of the Appalachian Trail in a coffee shop. We were having coffee in North Carolina. He had gone all the way from Maine, all the way down to Florida, and he had an encounter with a Bigfoot very close to where we were. We were in Waynesville in a little coffee shop, and he told me there was a mental connection. It was on another mountain across from him. It saw him, he saw it. They both just sat there and stared at each other for like an hour, and he could feel that it was trying to communicate with him, but he couldn't quite pick up what it was saying.
No. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of new energies that are coming online, just like in that channeling they mentioned that there's going to be a really crazy awakening. And a lot of our friends are I think they're going to be jolted, taken back a little bit. And it's going to take everyone in a certain space. It's going to take all of us at a certain vibration that we'll be able to reach our friends. You don't want to be in a place where you're not able to reach your friends, emotionally. You want to be there for them. It makes it very difficult, I think, when you're the only one awake in the family and no one really listens to you. That can be frustrating. That can be difficult. But realize at some point, the right person, they will come and you will be able to understand where they're at and help them go through this process, this awakening, because it can be jolting. I think for me, that's the word. It jolted me. It's like, whoa, this is a bit much. And at the time, I didn't exactly have too many people I could talk to, and my family already kind of deemed me, even though they love me, they deemed me a little bit off. So it was easy for them to say, maybe you should, go see your doctor, and just write it off as that. And they love me. They were not meaning to harm me in any way. They were saying that because they love me. They thought that was the better way. But for me, it was the awakening. I knew what I needed to do. It's like my instincts just took over, and that was that.
Happy Father's Day, Keith. Yes, thank you so much, everybody out there that is a father, and happy Mother's Day for those that we missed the previous month. Man, it's so good to see you guys and to interact with you on a regular basis. So, again, anything that you want to explore just let us know, and we will. What I take away from this also on the right is like the grids. There's natural ley lines. All around the world, there's natural ley lines. These are energy centers. It's nadis. Nadis are our channels. So we've been doing our best to keep up with exploring the world of Qigong and medical Qigong, understanding how the energy body works, and going deeper into chakras, nadis, the dantians, the different vessels that the life force is stored in. The earth is the same. Again, the earth is a being. So from one point of view, we witness the earth as this kind of orb. Well, from another point of view, that's us. We're orbs. It all depends from what perspective we're looking at ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And I look at the financial situation and I say just be diversified as much as possible. I think one thing is slowly going away and it's morphing into another thing, and you just don't want to have yourself stuck. You want to make sure that all your sides are covered, and this is normal. This is what happens in these cycles. There's nothing new under the sun. This is not the first time that crypto has come aboard. And I absolutely believe it's being put in place for us to work with other entities on other planets.
Yeah, so this is the thing. It's like we could know that what they want to do is trap us in a digital prison. And the other aspect we could look at is if we could see all the satellites in place around the Earth, it would look like another grid. Well, yeah, as best and as hard as they try to trap our consciousness, they can't trap the higher frequency side of us, because even though you're in this physical body that has its feet on the 3D earth, there are aspects of you that reach out into the much higher dimensions. And so they can't contain all of us. They know they can't. They try their very best to utilize the portion of our consciousness that's embodied for as long as they can. But that's really the most they could possibly do.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. So you guys have a wonderful day out there. We're doing our best to keep this going in the mornings, and we appreciate you showing up and showing your support, and just appreciate everything about you.
Yes, and before we go today, I wanted to just again touch a little bit more on what Cindy was saying about the crypto side of things. What we have realized is that part of, I think, their plan is to obviously devalue the dollars. So if we're hanging on to dollars, it's going to get less and less as time goes. Silver and gold, they do hold their value, and then just simply the basics. Having all the basics that you can. And also, that goes down to seeds, soil, and good healthy pots. The more you can grow for yourself, the better off you are. Right now I don't have a ton growing, but I already am not going to be able to keep up with the tomatoes that are coming in. And, the peppers, they're doing pretty well as well. There has been some... it's been overly soggy here, so the challenge has been to find that balance. But then doing your own herbs, doing your own veggies and pots, that's all wonderful. Whatever you can do, and if it's not you growing it, making the connections locally. And you know what? People are waking up a lot out there. They are so waking up, as we shared with you guys the encounter at the farmer's market. We met another young family who does have a website, and next time we talk to them, we could put it out there when they're ready, because I think they'd be overwhelmed right now. They're not really ready to go big time yet. But this is part of the happiness of these times, is finding people that they don't ouch the cows or the chickens, turkeys, etc. They don't give them antibiotics. They don't spray poisons all over everything. This is, and yet they weren't totally awake, but they were on that path to awakening. And again, I would say they're in their 20s. So They are the present and the future, as are many of you guys in this chat room as well. The more we can share all this knowledge with each other, the more we can create viable alternatives. I truly believe that in times in the past, you can go and you can see where I think the system has gone after what we might call breakaway civilizations. I think that term, breakaway civilization, that's a key term. Yeah, there's been a lot of breakaway civilizations. And very, very, at very, very small levels too, where you just have some people coming together and becomes a small community. And then the system will find some way to either bring them back into the fold or go after them. The power of this system is waning. There's still a ways before it's totally gone. The House of Cards is going to fall. Again, there are smaller exchanges besides the bigger exchanges out there when we're talking about, we talk about the Dow and the NASDAQ and all these big exchanges that are completely controlled by the system. And yet there will be alternatives that pop up. There's going to be alternatives everywhere. And I do think, again, barter and exchange is something that really, it holds tremendous value because, again, you don't enable the parasites to take a percentage of something that they haven't made themselves, and they're not going to use it themselves. Think about the insanity of this system where, it might literally cost 2 pennies to make something and it has to sell for $1.20. Why? Because, again, the system is parasitic in nature. All these taxes, we are heading, there was a show that popped up in the feed. I think it was, I'm not sure who the guy was, some historian who's analyzed things. And he says that we're probably within 5 years of a global revolution in many, if not most countries. Yeah, because, again, people are starting to realize we've been more than taken advantage of. Oh, no, and we're not going to accept it. We can create viable alternatives and live peaceful without funding these nonstop wars and without funding all this, what do you call a health system that leads to you being less healthy?
Mm-hmm. And it's been really wonderful. We do have somebody that we need to get a hold of, so we get to work on people today. It's always a blessing. Always have someone we get to help.
Tell them how they could get to us. Make an
appointment. Oh, yes. If you want to make an appointment, you can send us an email at evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com, or you can go to our website and look at things there, and we can really customize whatever it is you need. You can see what we do, and we do so much more, and we really do our best with people.
Yep. So you just hit that little contact. Here's the little form, and you just, hit send, and all the info is right here. It's really pretty simple. Yeah, or you can just cut and paste evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.
Just click on it.
Yeah, it's a link.
Cool.
So, yeah, our Ellie is taking care of us over there.
She's a gem. We appreciate you, Miss Ellie.
So, guys, think about what you want to talk about, because I want to make this all about you and how we could help you with whatever knowledge and life experience that we've acquired in our 100 and whatever years together.
We'll do our best anyway.
We will do our best because, that's what we're here for. We love you guys. We appreciate you guys. And we're here to help you guys in these times.
Source bless and namaste.
Namaste.